its exponent, you can do this. All right. So it usually, when they ask you a question on logs in matric, on calculating the value of n, it's often asked on the reducing balance depreciation formula, but they can also ask it on essentially, I suppose they could ask it on compound interest if they wanted to. That doesn't come up very often, but future value and present value. Okay, so when we say to determine the value of n, we mean that n has to be an exponent. Okay, so logs were created by a Scottish mathematician, actually. He was the first person to look at a situation like this. So let's say, for example, we've got 2 to the power of x equals 7. How would we work out what the value of x is? So when we are talking about, for example, something like 3 to the power of x equals 81, it's easy because the number 81 can be written using base 3. So when we have a situation like this, we make the bases the same, don't we? And then we equate the exponents after equating the bases. So that's our usual method for solving for x or n as an exponent. So logs are useful when you cannot rewrite your number with your base. Okay, so logs work like this. We are solving for x. So x is the subject of our formula. Log, our base, which is 2, and then our number, which is 7. Okay, so we've done inverse functions. Those of you that were with us when we did this, you guys know this already. So our rule is, what I'm writing over here is exponent equals log base number. Okay, that's what we're doing. Okay, and you need to write this step, just like you've got to show this step over here when you make the bases the same. You've got to show this step over here when you work with logs as well. Okay, it is a requirement. You're going to get a mark for that. They want to see that from you. Okay, and then on your calculator, I actually wonder if it's not. Hang on one second, guys. Let me just see. Oh, it's not there. Okay, I just thought maybe the picture that I took of my calculator, I was clever. So, but I wasn't, unfortunately. So the log button on our calculators that we are working with is the very top button on the right-hand side. It looks like this. So it goes log, and then over here you've got your a block for your base that's colored in, and then another longer block next to it like that. That's the button that we are using. Okay, when we are working with logs in financial maths. All right, so you will then press that button. You're going to put the 2 over here. The 2 goes there, and over there, that's where the 7 would go. All right, so press that button, that log button, put in your 2, pop in your 7, and what's the value of your exponent? And again, you can round it off to a number of decimal places. What are you guys getting? So to 2 decimal places, there we go, iPhone. I know your name's not iPhone, but if you tell us your name, we can change it. There you go. Okay, so very simply put, that is what we are doing when we are working with logs. Okay, well done, everybody. That's perfect. Excellent. Okay, so let's have a look at some examples. Any questions before we move on? We all good? Yes, Katleho?
Ma'am, how do you type that in a calculator without writing log 27?
Okay, so the button that you use is the top right-hand corner on your keypad. Okay, sort of just below your on button, you will see a button on your calculator that looks, I'm just going to draw a block around it. It looks like this. Do you see that button on your calculator? Can you see it, Katleho?
Ma'am, I only see a button that is written log. I'm sorry, ma'am, by the way, I just came in late.
No,
So that is why.
So you should have 3 log buttons. Well, the LN function, that's your natural function, but I mean, we're not going to talk about that now. You should see 2 buttons that have the word log on them. One that just has the word log, and above that, you've got 10 to the power of a block. And then there should be another button in the top row on the right-hand side. Have you got a Casio calculator?
No, ma'am, I'm using a sharp calculator.
Oh. I don't know where the log button on the sharp is. Maybe that's what the...
Yeah,
Okay,
but it should be there though.
it should be there, shouldn't
You
it?
should be there. Just check on the colors. I know that they have pink or as a color, so you might have to press like a shift or a second function so that
Yeah,
to
it's a
access
second
that.
function button. Yeah, it's a second function, I think, on a sharp calculator.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah,
supposed to be there.
it is. Just keep looking, Katleho. All right, so let's have a look. Matthew deposits 4,000 Rand in a savings account paying 10% per annum compounded annually. How long will it take for the savings to double? Okay, so you can see here the question is asking you how long. Which formula do you think we're going to use in this question? There are all our formulae up here. Which formula do you think this question requires? Which formula do you think we should use, Matrix? Compound interest, exactly. Kutwano. Okay, perfect. Okay, compound interest. So that's this one. Okay, so when they say how long, they're implying let's calculate the value of n. So if your savings is going to double, what's the value of A going to be? What's the value of A going to be in this case, Matrix? Oh, there we go, Pinga. It is. Well done, Pinga. Yes. Okay, so that will be 8,000. This is 4,000. The interest rate is 10%. There we go. Okay, so what you want to do now is divide both sides by 4,000 to isolate the base. Okay, so that means you're going to end up with 8,000 over 4,000 equals, and in this case, your base is going to be 1, 1 to the n. When we simplify 8,000 over 4,000, we've actually got 2. So 2 equals 1, 1 to the n. So the 1, 1 is the base, the 2 is the number. So to calculate n, you would say n equals log base number. Okay. All right, and you end up with an answer for n of, no, Pinga's already sent me an answer. Zwanaka?
Hello, ma'am.
Hi, Zwanaka.
Ma'am,
Can,
where did the log come in exactly? I think I lost you there.
Oh, okay. So you've got to use logs to solve for
where does
n.
log come in? Oh, so how would we know, like in an exam question?
Okay, because the question is asking you how long. So you've never seen these questions. This is new to grade 12. In grade 11, they would have never asked you a question, how long will it take for your savings to double? So by them
Oh,
asking you for the time period, they are implying that it is the value of n that needs to be calculated. Also here, n, they're talking about compound interest. All right, so they're implying we need to use this formula. You've got to calculate n, and if you are calculating n as an exponent, you are using logs.
okay.
Okay, that's
So
how
when,
you'll know.
so when the question says long, how long, then we know it's log.
Absolutely. Or in the case of future value or present value, they might ask you how many payments, because their n represents the number of payments. Okay, so they could ask you that as well. Okay, but in this case, it's just how long. All right. So
Okay, thank you,
we
ma'am.
end up with no problem. So we all end up with an answer of 7,27. They might, if you're at school, they might say to you, you know, convert this to years and months. Doesn't generally get asked that way. Normally they would just accept your answer like that. If they did want years and months, what you can do is just work with the decimal. Okay, so in other words, if you've got this on your calculator, all right, you've got n equals 7,27254 right? So what you can do is you can get rid of the 7 by subtracting 7. So you're going to say minus 7. And then that means you're going to end up with 0,27254 And then to convert that into months, you would then times that by 12. Okay, if they did ask you for months. Exactly, Miss Cindy. There you go. Okay, so you'd end up with 7 years and 3 months. Quite right. Okay, now hang on, I see somebody else is also. How did you get 8,000? Okay, import tabang, import, let's call you import, that's better. They told us for the savings to double. It said here, for the savings to double. So that's 4,000 doubles into 8,000. Okay. All right. So screenshots, everybody. Let's move on to the next question. Okay. So here's another example, okay, where they are asking us to calculate n, but it's a different formula. Okay, so based on the information that's given. A motor car costing 200,000 Rand depreciated at a rate of 8% per annum on the reducing balance method. Calculate how long it took for the car to depreciate to a value of 90,000 Rand under these conditions. What is the reducing balance formula? What is the reducing balance formula? First of all. Okay, but there's two depreciation formulae. Okay, so let's just go back up and go and have a look at our formulae over here. All right, depreciation on a reducing balance. Okay, you've got to use the right formula. Okay, in financial maths, they are very strict about that. If you use the wrong formula, they are not going to give you any marks. Yes, Shisana. Yes, Tsahufatso. I think you just left the N off. Yes, N being the exponent. You're quite right. Okay, so we've got to use the correct formula, otherwise we get no marks. Okay, so in this situation over here, we have A equals P1 minus I to the power of N. So we were talking about this formula on Tuesday. We were working with it. Okay, so our A value is going to be the 90,000, the scrap value or the book value of the car. The car is originally worth 200,000 Rand. The interest rate at which it depreciates is 8%. Be careful, that's 0.08, not 0.8. All right, and then they want us to calculate the value of N. Okay, so work out the value of N and then DM me or DM your lender. Let's see what you guys get. Okay, Pinga, good. Well done. You've got it. Okay, Shisana. No. Sorry. Something's gone wrong here. Pinga, let's see if we can get another question for you to work on just in the meantime while we're busy with. Okay. So Pinga, carry on with number 2. Let's just see what everybody else is doing here. There we go, Trish. That's good. Shania, yes, lovely. Nicole, perfect. Kachala, I hope I pronounced that correctly. That's lovely. Miss Cindy, good. Litlu, good. iPhone, very nice. Okay, so there's some Masejo's got it. Yes, blessing. Katlejo. Oh, you found your button. Okay, Shisana, that's fine. Olerato, good. Well done, everybody. Okay, perfect. So what you would have ended up with here is after you had divided both sides by 200,000, you ended up with 9/20 was equal to 23/25 to the n. Okay, and then remember you've got to write n equals log base, and then you've got to put in your number. Okay, and that's how you would have got the answers you sent me, which was 9,58. Okay, so you can use logs in any formula where you are calculating n as the exponent. All right, good. Well done. A lot of you have sent me through the correct answer. Excellent. Okay, so let's have a look at number 2. Let's have a look at question number 2. A small business had a number of computers which originally cost 70,000. They were sold for 30,000. Calculate how long it took the computers to depreciate to 30,000 Rand if the rate of depreciation was. So 12% on the reducing balance, and then we've also got linear depreciation. All right, so let's do 2A first. I want you guys to do this by yourselves. Let's see what you get as an answer for 2A. Again, you can DM me or Yolanda when you're ready. Let's see what you get. Yes, Tegofatso, I can go back. So what do you want to ask about, Tegofatso? Tegofatso, is the question you want to ask on the previous calculation? Okay. You're all right. Okay. All right. So we're on 2A, please, everybody. Okay. So will you find Pinga good? Olerato, good. Well done. You're fine. Oli, I don't know if I've pronounced your name correctly. You said please do the step for division on both sides. Okay, is that for the previous question, I presume? Okay, so it's not typically something that you would show, but you're dividing by 200,000 on both sides. Okay, so here, that's if we knock 4 zeros off there and 4 zeros off there, that's how we end up with the 9/20. Okay, and then 1 minus 0,8 is where we end up with the 23/25 to the n. Okay, and then the rest of the sum. Okay, yes, 6,63. Good. Good, Masejo, quite right. So all of you are getting the correct answer for A. When it comes to B, good, blessing, that's nice. Calculating how long it took for the rate of depreciation. Good, Kotwano, that's correct. I'm going to do that answer now as well. In question B, would we use logs? No, exactly. No. All right, we would not use logs. What does, so if we go back to linear depreciation over here, what does the letter N here mean? That N in linear depreciation. Does anybody know? In simple interest and linear or straight line depreciation, your N, okay, Nicole, we'll look at that answer now, is always the number of years. Okay, always the number of years in simple interest and linear depreciation. Okay, N is always years. Okay, so we would not need to use logs to calculate in question B. So just very quickly, just so that if there are people that want to come back and watch the video again, let's just do this. Okay, so something depreciates to 30,000 if it was originally 70,000. It depreciated at a rate of 12% per annum. So that means we end up with 3/7 when we divide both sides by 70,000. And then on this side over here, this would be 0,88 to the power of n. Okay, and now we're going to use our logs. So n equals log our base 0,88, or if you want to write it as, I think it's like 22/25, no difference, 3/7, then we would end up getting the same answer that you all gave me, which was 6,63. Okay. All right. Then for part B, yeah, that really should be very simple for you guys. For B, again, it's 30,000. 70,000 is what it was worth. And then you'd say 1 minus 0,2 n like so. Okay, so either you could expand the brackets or divide both sides by 70,000. It's up to you. You'd still get your 3 over 7. And then here, 1 minus 0,12n. The easiest thing for you to do here is to transpose that over to the other side. So you've got 0,12n equals 1 minus 3 over 7. So that's going to give you 0,12n. 1 minus 3 over 7 is going to leave you with 4 over 7. Okay, and then you would divide 4 over 7 with 0.12. Okay, and as a lot of you are saying, you're going to end up with 4,76 years in this particular case. All right. Good stuff. Well done. Okay, so no logs necessary in part B. Let's have a look at the next question. Okay, so here, find or determine the time taken for a certain sum of money to double if the interest rate is 12% per annum compounded semi-annually. Right, so another example for you guys. What do you want me to do again, Kotwano? What's your question about? Oh, okay. So I just took the 0,12. Maybe it's so easy it's difficult, Kotwano. I just took the negative 0,12 over to the other side, and then I moved the 3 over 7 over to the right. So that went this side over here, and this value over here came to that side. Okay, they'll tell you that you have to use linear depreciation. So when it comes to depreciation, they'll either say linear depreciation or they will use the words reducing balance. Okay, so if they talk about reducing balance, then it means A equals P 1 minus I to the N. All right, they'd have to tell you that the depreciation was linear if that's what they wanted you to do. Okay. All right. Okay, so let's go back and have a look at question 3. So again, it's an implication that we need to calculate n, find the time taken for a certain sum of money to double if the interest rate is 12% per annum compounded semi-annually. So which formula are they implying we need to use in this case? Okay. Okay, Lichlu's already got the answer. That's cool, Lichlu. If you want to go on and have a look at question number 4, that's fine. Everybody else? All right. If they ask us a question like this, they are not expecting us to work with values. All right. So in other words, if we wanted a certain sum of money to double, we would say, let that sum of money be X. Okay. All right. So hang on a second, Lichlu. Let's do this together then. All right. So let the amount of money be X. Let the sum be X. Let the sum be X. So then if it's going to double, when it doubles, what's it going to be? So when the sum of money doubles, it's now going to be worth 2x. Exactly. Exactly. Remember, we are using compound interest. It's very important that the correct formula is selected. If you don't use the right formula, you're not going to get any marks, not even for subbing in. Okay, so it's going to grow into 2x from x. We know what the interest rate is. It's 12%. And they said to us, determine the amount of time it's going to take for this to happen. So we know we've got to calculate n. All right, so now we're not worried about using the x's in this situation, because when we divide both sides by x, what's going to happen? All right, I'll show that step, even though typically speaking we wouldn't. Doesn't matter. When we divide both sides by x, what's going to happen? Exactly, Shisana. Oh, yes. Nolutando, thank you. Somebody else, I don't know if anybody else picked this up. Sorry. I forgot about the interest rate. I beg your pardon. Quite right. Because it was compounded semi-annually. Yes. Sorry, everybody. I forgot about that. Let's just go back. Okay, remember it was compounded semi-annually. Okay, so if it's compounded semi-annually, let's just be careful. All right, what are we going to do to our interest rate? If it's compounded semi-annually, we need to divide our interest rate by 2. So do you recall what we divide our interest rate by? We've got to multiply our n by this. So this would be 2n. Thank you so much. Who was that? Nolutando. Thank you, Nolutando, for reading carefully when I didn't. Okay, so be very careful, everybody. Read properly. Don't do what I do, what I did. Okay, semi-annually. You guys are correct. We were talking about what happens when we divide both sides with x. We're left with 2 because x divided by x is 1. So we end up with 2 equal to our base. We can work out its value. All right, so I'm getting a value of 53 over 50 as my base, and that is to the power of 2n. Okay. All right, and again, now that we have got a base to the power equals a number, we're ready to use logs. Okay, so in this case, 2n equals log base number. That's okay, Penga. I didn't say semi-annually, so everybody makes mistakes. None of us are perfect. Okay, so tell me what you're getting as an answer here, guys. There we go, lovely, well done. I agree. Good. Okay, so we're getting 5,95. Well done, everybody. Good. Okay, Secatelo, don't forget you got to divide by 2. Okay, because you've now got 2n. Okay, so after you've calculated log 53 over 50 of 2, you've got to divide by 2. Okay, any questions? Are we all okay? Yes, Sihawa would. Pinga's happy, Shisana's happy, Tsakfatso's happy. Okay, so Kutluana, whenever we are working with something and we don't know a value, we're always going to say let our unknown be x. Okay, so what a lot of students are tempted to do here is to use values. So, one person might use 5 and the other person and 5 and 10, or someone else uses 30 and 60. Okay, but you're not actually supposed to use values. You're supposed to work with X. Okay, that is the correct way to do it. All right, so yeah, whenever you don't know something, you're working with an unknown, then you would let it be X. Okay. All right, no problem. Okay, so if there's no questions, let's have a look at the next thing. So Simona opens an account at a local clothing store and she spends 5,000 Rand. The interest rate charged is 24% per annum compounded monthly. How long will it take her to owe 8,000 Rand if she makes no prior repayments on the account? Exactly, Vuyo. Exactly. By double, it meant 2x. Right, so again, when you read the question, the first thing you need to decide is what formula you're going to use. So what formula do you think we should use in this situation? Which formula, Matrix? There we go. Compound interest. Good. Okay. Cool. I agree because it says here the interest rate is charged 24% per annum, compounded monthly. Okay. Lovely. All right. So we've got A equals P1 plus I to the power of it. Maybe what I should do is after that, I'm not going to say anything else. You guys work out the value of N. Okay. And then you can DM me or Yolanda with your answer. I mean, I'd rather let you do it by yourselves instead of me. Okay, so Pinga and Lesejo, you've both got different answers. Okay, did you remember, guys, that it was compounded monthly? Yes, Katwana, you are going to put a 12 under the I. And what are you going to do to the N? Okay, Lesedi. That is looking better than some of the other answers that I have received so far. Okay, Pinga. I think, Lesedi, what you've forgotten to do something, but there we go. Yes, Masindi, Msomi, Lorato, Zachvatso, pretty much. Okay, nice. Well done. Okay, good. So most of those answers that came through there, yes, yes, Masejo, yes, iPhone, good, well done. All right, so your 8,000 goes there. The 5,000 goes here. 1 plus. So this is 0.24 divided by 12. And then here you've got to go 12n. Okay, good, Shisana. That's good. Masejo, that's nice. Okay, so you're going to end up with, you're going to divide both sides by 5,000. So you'd end up with 8 over 5 is equal to, and then that base is going to be 51 over 50. Good. Okay, and that's to the 12n. Good. Well done, everybody. Okay, so 12n equals log base number. Okay, so yes, you guys are getting 1,98. Okay, so that's approximately 2 years. Okay, that it's going to take for her to owe 8,000 Rand on her account. Okay, well done, everybody. Any questions? No, none. All right. So here are some exam questions. All right. So I've stolen these, not stolen, but I've taken these from past papers. Okay. The sorts of questions that you will expect to get in financial maths, in your tests, in your exams, in your trials, in your finals. So let's go and have a look at 8.1 and 8.2. Okay, so in 8.1, it says a farmer bought a tractor for 980,000. The value of the tractor depreciates annually at a rate of 9.2% per annum on the reducing balance method. Calculate the book value of the tractor after 7 years. Okay, so that kind of ties together what we were talking about on Tuesday. 8.2 says, how many years will it take for an amount of 75,000 to accrue to this in an account earning interest of compounded quarterly? Okay, so I would like you guys to try. Why is there a minus in the previous one? Where was the minus? There was no minus. We were working with compound interest. You're talking about this one over here because we were talking about depreciation. Okay, both of these were depreciating, if that's the question that you are referring to. Okay, so let's get you guys to do 8.1 and 8.2. And again, you can share your answers with Yolanda and I via DM when you are ready. Swanak, why is there a plus? Because it's compound interest. Okay, so here it was compound interest. The 5,000 grew into 8,000. Her interest rate is 24% per annum compounded monthly. Okay, so it's compound interest. Okay, Tsechofatso's already got an answer for A, or 8.1. Okay, Swanaka. Okay, Nicole. Good, Lorato. Okay, so just DM answers, guys. Otherwise, if people see things before they've finished working it out, it can be a little bit off-putting. That's why. That's better. Oh, let's see what's going on in the chat. See how. Yes, so accrue. So Shoshana, if something is, if it accrues interest, it grows with interest. Yes, it increases, it gets bigger. Yes, correct. Yes, iPhone. Yes, how? Yes. Nkosana, is that for question 8.1? Nkosana? Oloratu, is that for question 8.1? Glacedi's fine. Katuano's fine for 8.1. Trish, fine for 8.1. Secatelo. Yes, fine for 8.1. Okay. All right. And Kosana, something went wrong there. Let's, blessing, you're okay. Okay, Pinga, you've got a different answer for number 2 than Khalala, Khalale, if I pronounced that correctly. Okay. Yes, Trish, Tsakfatso, Nolutando, yes, all for 8.2, that's fine. Okay, so let's just have a quick look. All right, so if you got the first one incorrect, what we should have had was this. A equals 980. 1 minus 0,092. Be careful of that extra 0 over there, to the power of 7. And that would give you 498,685 rands and 82 cents as the book or scrap value of the tractor after 7 years. Okay, it's out of 3. Okay, so 3 marks here. 1 mark would have to be for the correct formula. Okay, then subbing in and your answer. Okay, so it's out of 3 there. Yes, Pinga, that's good. Kutluano, your answer is just slightly different to everybody else's. Let's do 8.2 together as well. Everybody, just to check that we're all fine with that. So again, we've got to ask ourselves, what formula is the correct formula to use in this situation? Okay, so it's supposed to be compound interest. A equals P, 1 plus I to the power of N. Okay, there are not regular payments. It's an amount of money that's sitting in an account, earning compound interest. It's compounded quarterly. They've given you the rate, so it is a compound interest. Okay, yes, Shisana, yes, Pinga, that is correct. Okay, so the 116,253,50 goes over here. The P is the 75,000, so it accrues interest or grows bigger. So at least we've learned a new word tonight. If we didn't know what accrue means, at least we've had a chance to discuss that before you see it in a test or an exam. Okay, and then here we've got 1 plus and then 0,068. Just be careful of that extra 0 over there. Sometimes that you leave that off. I know I've done it before, and then you end up with a really, yeah, I know, Kutwano, and that's exactly, look, I'm making that same mistake myself. So it's compounded quarterly. So that's got to be divided by 4, doesn't it? Okay, and then over here to the 4n. All right, so guys, Kutwano, don't, yes, correct. Read carefully. Okay, with everything that you are doing, read carefully from start to end. And I know I'm guilty of it as well. I do the same thing. I don't always read to the very end, but we've got to read carefully, all right? Because otherwise we would have missed that compounded quarterly, and then we wouldn't have divided by 4 or multiplied by 4, and we would have got a strange answer. Okay, so how, I'm not sure I'm going to get the same answer as you, but let's do this. So first things first, we are dividing both sides by 75,000, right? So we've got 116,253,50 divided by 75,000. Okay, and that is going to be equal to, let's work out the value of our brackets. So 1 plus 0.068 over 4 gives us, I get 1017 over 1,000. Okay, to the 4n. Why is it over 4 and not alone? Voyo, because it's compounded quarterly. Okay, so it was like these questions we were talking about over here. Here, remember this one was compounded monthly. So we divided by 12 and times by 12. This one over here was compounded semi-annually. So we divided by 2 and times by 2. Okay, that's why. All right. So 4n equals log base number. Okay, so let's just do that quickly. I know a lot of you sent me the answer. Just and then we've got to remember to divide it by 4. Okay, so yes, we are getting 6,49999, and that's why you were all saying 6,5. Okay, well done, Matrix. Let's just talk about where our marks would be, because we can see here that this is out of 4 marks. So again, first mark on the correct formula. Okay, second mark for subbing in. Next mark for the correct use of logs. Last mark for our answer. Okay, so it would be 6 years and 6 months. Yeah, quite right, Kutwano. Perfect. Okay, Katlego, go for it. What's your question?
Ma'am, so when we're writing exams, is it compulsory for us to write that log part of the equation?
Yes. Yes. If you are using logs to calculate n, you have to write the log thing. Yes. So that would be it would be seen as the same as if you were making the bases the same. So if you've got 3 to the x equals 9, and you've got 3 to the x equals 3 to the power of 2, it's the same mark that you would get for that line that you would get for the logs. Okay, so you can't make the bases the same, so you're using logs instead. So yes, you must show, just like you've got to show making the bases the same, you've got to show that you've worked with the logs. Okay, you must show that step. All right, everybody. Well, Yolenda's popped the quiz into, or the link for the quiz. No problem, Katleho. There you go. This is another exam question. Do you want some homework? If you want, you're welcome to take. This is another exam question that I've gapst. So you can see how these questions get asked, and what we've been learning here in class. You're welcome to try this for homework.